How many of you got more than 6 for woman? How many you got 6? How many you got less than that? How many you still working on it? Still working on it? Okay. All right. How many you got 6 underlined? Okay. Cherie, tell us those verses for woman that have woman in it. Verse 3. You need to catch up with us, Mom? Okay. We'll give you a chance to catch up with us. We're underlining, still in chapter 17, all the verses that have woman in it. Chapter 17. And Cherie's telling us all the verses that contain what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Show you where I'm at, huh? All right. So Revelation 17, right? I said that time? Okay. And Cherie will tell you what verses that contain the word woman and how many of them we came up with, a total of 6, right? Okay. So tell us when you're ready, love. You ready? You gonna underline them? Or you haven't turned to it yet, so you ain't ready. The purpose is to know these key words and how they relate to each other. We already know that they do relate, but we want to show how they relate, and we'll go into deeper detail after that. Okay? Okay? You with me? Are you with me? Okay. It's important that you know how these relate, because if the woman is partaking of the world and she's being dominated or pimped by the beast, then we need to know how the relationship involves us as the people of God and us even as individuals. Okay? It makes sense to anyone. Is that important that you know personally? Okay. So I'll catch you up with this, love, later, okay? All right. So, again, this woman, we know her involvement is with the beast. We know it's deeply, right? So how many times? 6 times she's exposed in this chapter? Which verses, Cherie?
Verse 3, verse 4, verse 6, verse 7, 9, and 18.
Okay. Got them all now, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Everybody else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Read it, say it one more time.
Verse 3,
Uh-huh.
4,
Uh-huh.
6,
Okay.
7,
Yep.
9,
Uh-huh.
and 18.
And 18. All right. Each time this woman is mentioned, almost right after, not too much from it, the beast is actually involved with it. Had you noticed this? As we're reading, you see in verse 3 what is going on. And I saw a woman sit up on a, there you go, right? So naturally, you know what's carrying her, right? You see the relationship. She is carried, enticed, ruled by, not going her own way, but she's going the way that she has been led by the beast. It's not the world that we're involved in, intentionally, unintentionally led by the beast system, right? And it carries us to a certain zone if we let it, as saints of God, to be more relying on the world instead of God. Our trust is in man and not in God. How is that so? Well, we come so much deceit and seducement comes from the world into the church, right? If it brings us away from God, then we can say our love of the world is more than our love for God. So what does it take for us, if that's the case, to be lost? Not much, right? Not much to be deceived, right? Not much for our love to wax cold, right? Not much for our love to be dominated when everything falls apart and they say it's either God or the mark. You get it? If we are ruled easily now or intimidated or part of it easily now and our dependency seems to be on it, what's going to happen when they say, you got to either take the mark or you don't eat? You got to either take the mark or you don't have no money. What's going to happen before that? How do I prepare before that time? Well, the time is now. Go ahead, love.
Set your house in order.
Yeah.
Heart, begin with your heart.
Yeah.
Everything settled in the heart. That proceeds out of our mouth.
Yeah.
Our mouth and the heart are two things.
Yeah.
But there's two things that help us to be who we are, inwardly and outwardly.
Yeah.
It's the heart and the mind.
Yeah. And that's the whole issue with us now. If our heart is not there now, what's going to happen later? We're going to fall right in, right? We're going to sink right in. We're going to be sucked right into the system, and we going to do it so willingly that we won't even realize we done it. Do you get it? Because our dependency is up on the system now, because we have to have ETB, EBTs, or whatever we call it, ETFs, electronic transfer of funds. We have to depend on all that, right? But when it comes to a system that is implemented saying, well, we no longer need the cards, we just want you to do your hands or your foreheads, however they're going to do it, right? We want to implant. Then you saying, do I have to? In order for you to get paid, in order for you to make any bargainings, go grocery shopping or pay bills, you got to have this implant. Then what's going to happen? Are you getting it? Huh? Are we getting it? Some people are doing it before now, taking implants, right? Well, maybe that is not the real mark, but listen, the more I give in to letting them do it, then what? When the real thing comes, will I know? Do it. There you go. I'm used to, this will be easier. The fact that they go on now is what? We want to make it quick, easy, where you don't have to worry about anything. Correct? But listen, how much information have we given up? And what happens when the government system has been hacked? Where did our information go? How many of you ask for robocalls? How many of you ask for all that surplus mail that you get of ads and you say, I didn't answer this, I didn't want this, right? Why? Because your information has been what? attacked, been given up without your consent. Correct? So if they got the information to get this stuff to you, how much information they got to take from you? Do you get the picture? Am I making it plain? But we don't think it nothing now, and people think, oh, well, we've seen that in the movies, right? How many of you seen or remember, I can remember some of these old movies, Enemy of the State. That's one of them, right? How real was that? That's very real, right? And how many people have actually been done like that? Now listen, if that happened in a movie, don't you realize it can happen in real life? Do you not think somebody at some point in time had that same thought in government and said, we can use that? Hello? Do you not know some of those same things that been seen in the movies are actually real to use now, right? Huh?
I was gonna say, and they make it where now is the norm because
Yeah.
now all those reality TV shows,
Absolutely right.
you don't think nothing of it.
Absolutely right. So if I build you up to accept things as the norm, then when the unnorm come, you won't really know it's the unnorm because I done made it the norm. Sheree?
I saw a while ago.
Speak loud where Rick can hear you way back there.
Yes, sir. I saw a while ago on the news where they have already started with the chips.
Yeah.
Like the little small little things that they inject in people.
Yeah.
And I think they're like beta tested, or they were beta tested.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not that I didn't believe it was happening, but it's like it's already actually happening, and
Oh, yeah.
people that were doing it was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, this is so, all you have to do is run your hand over the little reader and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And it helps, like, if you're kidnapped,
Yeah.
identifying you and stuff like that. And I think they started it with the animals,
Yeah.
putting chips in the dogs.
They call them transponders.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Now, listen, even when they started with the animals, they also started with the military because they wanted to know where everybody was. But the experiment of putting the chips in people started with animals in the military. And they also started on some welfare recipients. So if you get a little bit of everybody in your sample testing, you can kind of associate, relate, or putting that information in your database how things would go in a real world, right? You always, for instance, they have these centers. I think one of them is called Quincy, something like that. They centers where people that maybe don't even have a job or want to make extra money can go and act as lab rats. Quintiles, you know these, right? And guess what? If you're unemployed, you ain't got no money, what's a good place to get some money? Yeah. And so, guess what? They will have you to sign up, and they'll let you know what they're responsible for and not responsible for. You sign on the dotted line. Will they tell you what they really giving you? Do you think I'm giving you thousands of